Hello again, welcome back to Hanger 51. So today we're going to do a repair on the F7F Tigercat from FMS. As you can see, we have got some breakage here. The whole nose of the nacelle with the motor still in it broke off from the rest of the nacelle here. Pretty much right at the form or the wall that the retract is bolted in. And then the back here is also broke, and we're going to glue this back in place, and we're going to steam some of the wrinkling that's in this out and see how well we can clean that up. Now, since this isn't something that should come apart, I'm going to epoxy this back together. That's the way I do it. If it's something that is not supposed to be apart, in other words, I'm not going to ever need to take this back apart in this breakage to do anything with it. It's sold as one piece, so it's not supposed to come apart. So this is going to get repaired with epoxy. I'm going to glue it back permanent, and I might reinforce it with some carbon fiber or bamboo skewers, but it's definitely going to be a permanent repair, so it's going to get epoxy. Now when I'm gluing on tail feathers or anything that might need replacing one day, I tend to use foam tack or contact cement of some kind, because you want to be able to get it back apart. You know, if you break a fuselage, like my Tigercat for instance, you want to make sure that you can take the tail. If the tail feathers are still good, you want to reuse them. You want to make sure that you can get them back off the plane. So if you CA them on or epoxy them on, you're not going to get them back off, so you're going to have to replace them as well. So anytime you're gluing something that may need to be replaced one day, I recommend foam tack, contact cement, something that you can get back apart. But this is definitely going to be a permanent repair, so we're going to glue this with epoxy. So let's get busy on fixing this. Okay, so I bought one of these little swimming pool cup holders. You know, it floats in the pool, you put your soda in it or whatever. And I cut the bottom out of it so that I could slide it over the top of this. And I'm putting the little head of it's a seahorse, inside the gear opening so that it's out of the way. And then I'm going to put a cup like this on top of it. This is an empty spackle container. I'm going to put that on top of it. And then I've got a 5 amp hour lithium battery for my weed eater to set on here for weight. Okay, and I'm going to just balance it up there like that. And that's going to compress, keep this compressed, keep pressure on it while the glue dries, and that should work pretty good. I think that's going to work all right. I'm going to use 30-minute epoxy. I've got this Zap 30-minute epoxy. Going to use this. Of course, it's 2 parts. So I'm going to mix that up, get it all inside there, get all this lined up, put that on it to hold it in place while it's drying, and then I'm going to put a couple of toothpicks. When I push, I'm going to manipulate the 2 pieces together, get them aligned, and I'm going to stick a toothpick through it to hold it aligned. And the toothpick's going to stay in there. I'm just going to push it all the way down into the foam with this, so it's below the surface, so I don't have nothing to do with the afterwards with the toothpick. It's going to be in there holding it straight, and it's going to stay in there. Now we're not going to worry about it. And I think that's going to work out pretty good to get this glued back together straight and smooth, and then we're going to be able to steam out some of the wrinkling and stuff after we glue it back together. But this looks like it's going to work pretty well. So let me get it glued and we'll get on to the next stop. Okay, so there we have it. It's gluing. It's all glued. I used quite a bit of 30-minute epoxy. I like to work with the 30-minute epoxy. Gives you more work time to get things moved around, aligned, wipe off excess glue, make sure it's good and perfect before the glue starts to set up. So I always do repairs like this with 30-minute epoxy. And I know a lot of you guys like the foam tack, and there's nothing wrong with foam tack. It's a good product. I use it too. But this is a permanent repair. This is, it's not supposed to come apart here. It's never going to come apart here again. Epoxy's permanent. I know you guys think, foam tack's permanent. You can pull foam tack apart. I mean, if you really want to pull it apart, it will come back apart. So I don't consider that permanent. You're not going to pull the epoxy apart. It'll just tear the foam somewhere else. Whereas if you want to pull something apart that's been put together with foam tack, it will release if you pull hard enough. So it's generally a permanent repair. But when I'm working with something like this, where it's broken foam, I like epoxy. I use foam tack for gluing on tail surfaces that I might have to take off one day, like my Tigercat where it broke the fuselage, but the tail surfaces are okay. So I can remove them and move them to the next fuselage and reuse them, and foam tack will release enough to get it off where the epoxy ain't coming off. So we're done with that. We're just going to let that glue. I'm going to leave it all night. We're not going to sit here watch it dry. There's nothing to watch. And I'm going to let it glue, and then once it's done, we'll get back to the video and show you what the end result is. So keep watching. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to Hanger 51. So we've got this all glued, and it came out pretty well. Looks good. I got it to line up pretty good here. I did put 3 toothpicks through it here at different angles to just put tension into the foam while it was drying. This all lined up good. We're perfect right here where it matches the wing. And this surface here, all this is against the wing. And all that came out really good. So it should go right back on the wing perfect. Okay, so we got a lot of compression here that we're going to steam some of this out. Including this crookedness right here. This is maybe over, yeah, probably show up a little better over here, or maybe right here. But yeah, you see how it's curved here, and this is broke here. Okay, if you see that open up, this seam opens up right here. So I'm going to epoxy this next right now, and I'll probably pin that in place with a couple of toothpicks. And then after that dries, I'm going to steam the other side here where all this compression wrinkling is. We're going to steam all of this, so that should expand that foam back out, and that should make this get nice and straight again. So that's what we're going to do next. I'll video the steaming process, but you don't need to watch me glue it. So we'll glue it and be right back. Okay. Welcome back, guys. All right, so this glued really great. That whole thing worked really well. It's very. There's going to be a crack line here, and we're going to take care of that the same way we're feather filling and sanding everything else. So I'm going to get the camera in here close too in a second. But this came out really good. It's glued nice and straight. It's all back in place. Everything lined up inside the gear doors here, which is where it's important. All this lined back up perfect. So I think we're in good shape. This looks like it worked really well. So let me change cameras here so I can show you what, I'll give you a close-up here. So here's the crack here, okay, but it's level. It's level across here. So we can just do a little feather fill and sand in here, and that'll disappear. We can fix that. This doesn't show, but there's a little bit of cracking right here that you can see, but again, this doesn't show. I'm not going to do anything to fix that, but it's smooth, so it's going to bolt back on the plane perfectly. Okay, and then on the other side also, the cracking's not as noticeable. This side here, like I said, is smooth, and this side's smooth as well. There's 3 little holes here. I put toothpicks here, here, and here. You can, let me get that in the can. Yeah, there's 3 toothpicks in there at different angles. Okay, they're going through the foam in different angles to keep the compression in place. So it's holding it in place. So it glued perfectly smooth too. This is very nice. So all we're going to have to do is a little feather fill in here and a little sanding, smooth that all back out. I'm going to try to steam all these wrinkles out of it a little bit. It's not going to be perfect ever, guys, but I think we can make it look better. So that's what we're going to try to do. I'm definitely going to replace these nacelles. They're only, I think they were 57 or 67 bucks for a pair, and it comes with everything. It comes with the cowl, which is what I need. I need cowls. Both my cowls are broken. It comes with the cowls and everything. So it's for that kind of money, it's worth it to just replace it. So that's what we're going to do to finish this up. Right now we're going to glue it to fix this. Okay, we've got this broken in the tail, or the very tail of this. So we're going to open that up, put a bunch of glue in it, close it up. And what I've got set up here, these are in place here for a reason. We're going to set this on here like this. Okay, and then on the tip there, just like that. And then we're going to put this, and I don't know if you can see it or not, you can see that the crack is open right here. Okay, then we're going to put this big heavy weed eater battery right on here like this, and that closed that right up. This is, compressed tight. So that'll make sure the glue stays in there and glues it perfect. And we're just going to let this sit. Again, I'm going to use 30-minute epoxy, so I have time to, if there's any glue spreading out of here or whatever, squishing out, I can clean that up, wipe it off. If I need to, I can get a little alcohol and finish cleaning it off, whatever I need to do. But it gives me work time. And that's what I like to have, the work time. So this is going to be the drying configuration to break this broken part here. And that's what we're going to do now. Okay? I'm not going to mix epoxy and put it in there. I'll do that off camera, but you're going to see this is what it's going to look like when I put it up here. All right. So let me go back to this view, and we'll be right back.